Configuring IPv4 network connectivity in Windows 10. Now, configuring network connectivity is a common administrative task. So, in many organizations, it accounts for a significant percentage of overall administrative effort. Windows 10 includes several tools that enables you to set up and troubleshoot both wired and wireless network connections more efficiently. So to support your organization's network infrastructure, it is important that you understand how to configure and troubleshoot network connections. Now, before configuring the network, we should understand the important thing is IP. In any network, every machine has a unique IP. And these IPs are the identification of the machine in the network. So let's see the overview of this IPv4. IP means Internet Protocol, and this IP is the part of TCP/IP protocol suite. This protocol suite has a lots of different protocols and different protocols to do the networking task. So any task happens on the network, it happens based on those protocols, whether it is a web server, whether it is database server, whether it is mail server, whatever. Everything happens on those protocols. Now, one of the important protocol in that protocol suite is the IP protocol. And this IP protocol is now, we are seeing this as a IPv4. IPv4 means it's the version 4 for IP protocol. IP is Internet Protocol, and this is the version 4. Nowadays we have version 6 also. To configure this network connectivity, you must be familiar with this IPv4 addresses and how they work. So computer can communicate only when they identify each other and assign a unique IPv4 address to each networked computer. The IPv4 address identifies the computer to the other computers on the network. So that IPv4 addresses combined with the subnet mask identifies the computer's location on the network, and just as the combination of a number and a street name identify the location of the house. So it is just like a address of your computer, that where your computer is located. So IPv4 addresses identifies a computer to other computer on a network. It is like you can see in this image, we have these subnet 1, subnet 2. So if the machine is located in subnet 1 or subnet 2, it is all decided by the IP address and the subnet mask. So, and to find the IP address of the other machine, this Windows computer use this ARP protocol. ARP protocol is to discover the MAC addresses. This is to discover the MAC addresses. Now you will understand this when you see the OSI layer. When OSI layers do the job, so at the data link layer, any packet, when they want to send any packet, so at the data link layer they have to attach the MAC address to the packet. But we only mention the IP address, MAC addresses we don't mention. So ARP protocol used to find the MAC address of the particular IP address, so that it can send the packet to that particular machine. Now basically in a LAN network, all the communication happens based on MAC addresses. That is the physical address, and IP address is the logical address. But MAC addresses are found on based on the IP addresses. So first we have to understand, before configuring the network connectivity to our devices, we have to understand what is IPv4 and what are the components of an IPv4 addresses. So IPv4 uses 32-bit addresses. Now bit is the smallest part of the memory. You can't go less than bit. So in digital world, everything is in bits. Every communication, every application, everything works on bits. Now those bits either on or either off. That means the bit consists of memory or the bit will not consist of memory. So bit is on, that means it has a memory, and bit is off, that means it is not having a memory. Now we represent that bits, the state of the bits, by using the binary number. Now binary numbers are 0 and 1. In binary we have only 0 and 1. So either bit is when the bit is off, when it is not having any memory, so we represent that bit as a binary number 0. Now when the bit is having a memory, then we represent that bit as a binary number 1. That means it is on. So 1 means on and 0 means off. It's very simple. Now this IPv4 address is the combination of 32 bits. This simplifies that if you use an IPv4 address in its binary format, it has 32 bit characters. For example, you can see this. So it is a 32 bit number. Now 32 bit, and it is divided, IPv4 divides the addresses into 4 octets. 4 octets means combination of 8 bits. So when you combine 8 bits, then it will call octet, or also you can say byte. Now IPv4 is divided into 4 parts of octet. Octet means 8 bits. So you can see here 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits and 8 bits, and these are divided by dot. So 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits and 8 bits. So the IP address looks like this: 8 bits dot 8 bits dot 8 bits dot 8 bits. Now for us, this digital language, this binary language is not easy to understand for us. It is not easy to type, it is not easy to read it. So what the designer of IPv4 did, what the engineers did, they convert this IPv4 addresses from binary to decimal. Decimal where we have numbers from 0 to 9, and we can understand these numbers because we know these numbers from our childhood. We only do learn these numbers from 0 to 9. So it is easy for us to read this IP address in binary version, in the decimal version. So to make the IP addresses more readable, binary representation of the addresses typically shows it in decimal form, and as the following example says here. So we can say this is the binary version of the IP address, and this is the same IP but it is in decimal version. Now where this decimal version comes, now each binary version has its own value. So each binary version, each binary bit has its own value. Like for example, in this IPv4 we have 8 bits part. So in every part we have only 8 bits, and 8 bits and 8 bits. So when you represent these bits in binary, in decimal, so these bits is having its own values, and based on those values this number comes, this decimal number comes. That means suppose if the bit is on, then we will count the value of that bit, decimal value of that bit, and if the bit is off, then you will not count the decimal value of that bit. For example, so for example, these are the decimal values of all those 8 bits, and these values comes when you raise the number to 2. That means 1 raised to 2, 2 raised to 2, 3 raised to 2, 2 raised to 3, 2 raised to 4, just like that. So it is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 and 128. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the values of those all 8 bits. So for example, what is the bit there in our value? So this is the bits, this is the binary bits, and now here you can see this value comes. Now how this value comes? It is counting those bits which is on. So it is adding those bits which is on, and then the number comes this. So these binaries are the representation of this decimal. So if the value is like this, IP is like 192 dot. Now 192 means what? Let me clear here. Okay, I will write 192 here. Now this 192 means what? So you will on those bits which will count into 192. Now for example, this 120 is less than 192, so I can enable this bit. So this bit is enabled. Now when you combine 128 with 64, so you will get 192. So actually these two bits are on and rest of the bits are off. These are 0. So we are counting only those bits which bits are on. So this is the decimal version and this is the binary version of that number. Now when you say 168 here, now 168 means this one is on. Now if I enable this one, then it will become 192, so this will not be on. So when you combine 128 with 32, so it will become 160, so it is on. Then 160 plus 16 it will get more than 168, so it is not on. And 160 plus 8 becomes 168, so this is on. Then rest of the bits are off. So we can say that this is the binary version and this is the decimal version. So this decimal is coming from this binary. Each binary bit has its own decimal value. So when the bit is on, so we will count that bit, and when the bit is off, we will not count that bit. So when these two bits are on, so we combine these two values, 128 and 64, and the value which we get is 192. So we write 192. Now machine will easily calculate this binary. Remember, we understand the decimal, but machine still understand this binary. So when you give 192, so for the machine it is 11000000. When you give 168, for us it is 168 to understand, but for machine it is 10101000. So machine knows this binary and we knows this decimal. So for us it is 192 and for machine it is this, because we don't understand binary. So IPv4 is designed in decimal and we have these decimal numbers. So it is the decimal representation of binary IPv4. Now in conjunction with the subnet mask, the addresses identifies the computer's unique identity, which is the host ID, and the subnet on which the computer resides, which is the network ID. So when you have subnet mask, now subnet mask is come with the IP address. Without subnet mask, this IP address is useless. You can't use this. It is not worthy. So it is not meaning. It will not have any meaning. So in IPv4, you have to have subnet mask with the IP address. Now again, the subnet mask is also a 32-bit address. It is also a 32-bit address and it is also in binary. And it is also, but it defines what? It defines the network part and host part basically. So in any IP address, like for example, this is my IP address. This is my IP address. So in this IP address, subnet mask will define that what is the network part and what is the host part. For example, this is the network part and this is the host part. So the rule for the IP is simple, that when you have two machines and those two machines network part is same, then they can do communication. And if the network part is different from these two machines, then you can't do any communication. You cannot do any communication. So when your network part is same, then those two machines are considered into the same network. So it defines the network ID also. So if those network parts same in two or more machines, then those machines are what's considered, they are considered in same network. Host part can be different. Remember, it must be different, because if you use the same IP address in two machines, then they will do conflict. You cannot use same IP address on two machines. So network part will be same, but host part will always be different. So this is a simple rule, that when you are having two machines with the same network part, then they can do the communication, they will consider into the same network. And if you don't have a same network part, then you are considered into different network. Now different network means they will not be able to communicate with each other. Now for communicating with each other, they need a different device, that is router. Other than that, you will not able to do the communication. So without the subnet mask, IP address is not, it is nothing. Now IPv4 addresses are classes. Now when the IPv4 addresses are designed, they have designed it into different classes. And that who designed? The Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, INA. It is an organization. This IPv4 addresses into classes. So they design it into classes. And the number of hosts in a network determines the required class of addresses. Class A through class E are the names that INA has specified for IPv4 addresses classes. So they divided these classes, designed the IPv4 addresses into classes, so that we can define how many host addresses are there in one network. One network, that means where the host network part is same, and the host part, that means the host address. So every machine gets a unique host address. So they define these classes to divide the number of hosts available in a particular network. And we have different classes from A to E. Now classes A, B, C or A, B, C are IP addresses that you can assign to host computer as a unique IP addresses. Whereas you can use class D for multicasting. Additionally, INA reserves the class E for experimental use. So we have ranges, we have classes from A to E, that means A, B, C, D, E. But we can only use A, B and C. We cannot use D and E. D is for multicasting. Multicasting, that means it is for some applications or devices which they use the unique IP address from the D class, and E is they have leave the E for experimental use. So we have only class A, B and C for public use, for commercial use. Now when we talk about subnet mask, so as I said, the subnet mask is a network segment, and single or multiple routers separate this subnet from the rest of the network. So when you are having a subnet, that means it is where all the machines can communicate to each other. And the different subnet, that means those networks are different, they are not able to communicate with each other. And who defines this? It is defined by subnet mask. And these subnets are divided by the routers, because router is the only device who can connect those two different subnets. So a subnet mask specifies which part of an IP address is the network ID and which is the host ID. For example, this is the IP address, and in this, if the subnet mask is this. Now remember, I told you that subnet mask is also 32-bit address, and it is also divided into 8 parts of 4 octet. So we have 4 octet here also divided by dot. And when all the 8 bits are on, you will get 255 value. So when you enable all the 8 bits, you will get 255. And when you disable all bits, you will get 0. So subnet mask will always be like 255 or 0 mostly. Now 255 means it is the network part, and 0 means it is the host part. Now 255 means all the bits are on here, and 0 means all the bits are off here. So on bits means network and off bit means host. So if you say this is the IP 192.168.1.200 with this subnet mask, that is 255.255.255.0, that means this first part is the network part, that is 192.168.1. so this is the network part, and that means the network ID is 192.168.1.0, where the host ID is 0. All the bits of the host ID is 0. This is the IP address and this is the network ID for that IP address, because the subnet mask is this. Now IPv4 networks. So we have these classes, and these classes is starting and ending range we have. Now when we talk about classes, remember when we talk about classes or any, if you see any IP address and if you want to know what class of this IP address is, then you have to only see the first part. Remember, only the first part. Suppose this is the IP address 192.168.1.200. Now I want to know which class of this IP address is, then I have to only look for this first part, that is 192. So we can define the class. So in a simple IPv4 network, the subnet must define full octet as part of the network and host ID. A 255 represents an octet that is part of the network ID, and a 0 represents an octet that is the part of the host ID. So class A, B, C network uses default subnet mask, and the following table lists the characteristic of each IP address's class. So when we talk about classes, then we have to look for only the first part. So first part, if it starts from 1 or 127, that means it is what? Class A. That means any IP which is having first part is first octet either 1 or 127, that means a number between 1 to 127, it will be considered as a class A. And if any IP address first octet, the first part, comes under the range of 128 to 191, that means it is the class B. And if the first octet, the first part ranges from 192 to 223, that means it considered to be the C, class C. As you can see, this one is 192, that means this is class C. Now every class has its own default subnet mask. Now default subnet mask is this, and it is defined by INA. So we can't change this, it is default. We cannot change this default subnet mask. We cannot do this, but we cannot remove this 255. We can change these zeros, but that is the different thing. But we cannot change this 255. These are by default there. So class A has the default subnet mask of 255.0.0.0. Now that means in class A IP addresses, the first part is the network part and rest of the three parts are the host part. So in any class A IP address, the first part is the network part and all the other three parts are the host part. That means if any two machines you have and you have assigned class A IP address, then those two machines must have the same first part or first octet. If they are having different first octet, then they are not able to do the communication. They will consider as a different network. So first part must be same in all the class A, any class A IP addresses you assign to those machines if you want them to communicate to each other. Host part can be any. In class B, the default subnet mask defined by the INA is 255.255.0.0. Now here we have two network parts and two host parts. So first two parts are the network part. So any machine you assign the IP addresses, and if you are assigning class B IP addresses, then you have to make sure that the first part of those IP addresses must be similar if you want them to do the communication, and host part must be different. Then class C has 255.255.255.0. That means it is having 3 network parts and 1 host part. That means first 3 octet is the network. That means if any two machines you are assigning the C class C IP, then you have to make sure that first 3 part must be same, so that they can do the communication. Otherwise they will not do the communication. The rest of the host part must be different. Now why INA did this? Why they divided these into classes? Because of they want to do the difference between the network and host IDs. So in class A you will get number of networks 128. That means you will get separate subnets and separate networks 128 in class A. And in each network, remember, in each network, that means in each 128 network you will get this number of hosts. So in each network you will get these number of hosts, and this number of hosts you will get every network. That means number of hosts per network. So you have 128 network and you have this number of hosts in per network in each network of class A. So it is a big range. That means you are having a lots of host IP addresses. That means you can have lots of machines together communicating in class A single network. This class A is basically for the large organizations where they have large number of machines. Then class B is having 16,384 networks, and in each network you will get 65,536 IP and host. So it is a small range than class A. So this IP is for those companies. This class is for those companies, those middle-sized companies, those does not have that large number of hosts, that large number of computer in their organization. But we have some small organizations also, so they have created class C for them. In class C you will get lots of network. That means 2,097,152, and in each network you will get only 256 hosts. This is for the small organizations where they have only 200 or 250 machines there. And these organizations can be a large number of organizations, so they have large networks. So this is class A, B and C which we can use commercially. Now there is another class which we cannot use, that is D and E. Now D starts from 224 to 239. So any IP address you will see which starts from 224 to 239, that means it is what? Class D address. We cannot assign this address to any machine. Remember, you cannot assign. If you try to assign it, machine will give error, because this IPs are reserved for multicasting, and these are multicasting addresses. It is used to do multicasting. Now what is multicasting? In IPv4 we have 3 types of communication. One is the unicast, that is one-to-one communication. That means one machine to one machine communication, it is unicast. Then multicast. Multicast means one to many, but not all. That means if one machine is communicating with 10 other machines, then it is doing multicast, but it is not communicating all the other machines. That means it is what? Multicast. Then the broadcast. Broadcast is like, broadcasting means like one to all, like TV broadcast, radio broadcast. It is like one to all. You cannot say anything, you have to just listen it. So these are the IPv4 communications. So this D class is for the multicasting. So if any application, services or devices they wanted to do the multicasting, so they have these IP addresses reserved For example, some of the protocol like EIGRP, RIP, OSPF, they are having the IP addresses of this class D for doing the multicasting and to communicate with the same protocol devices. Then we have class E, and this is from 240 to 255. Remember, 255 means all the bits are on. Now you don't have any other bits to enable. And this range is for experimental use by AENA. So they are using this range for their engineers. We are not able to use this, and we are not able to assign this to any machine. So these are the classes of IPv4 addresses we have. Now configuring connectivity to other subnets. Now remember, when I say that network part is different, then the machines considered to be in a different network and different subnet. So the default gateway is a device on a TCP/IP network, usually a router which forwards IP packets to other subnets. So if you want to do the communication to other network or other subnets, then you need a router, and those router devices known by their gateway addresses. That means they sit on the gate. Very simple. That means this is your network, you are inside your network, that means that is your house, and you want to go to other network, so you have to go through the gate. So you have to go through the gate, and that gate, on that gate the router is sitting. So every machine within the network, if they want to go to the other network, they have to go through that gate and that gateway, and on that gateway the router is there. So every machine must know the gateway address of that router, so that they can pass that gate to go to another network. So a router connects groups of subnets to create an internet. And in an internet is basically what? It is the different groups of subnets on the network, on the wide area network. So on a wide area range, we have different subnets, and all those subnets are connected through the routers. So in an internet, any given subnet might have several routers that connects it to other local and remote subnets, and you must configure one of the routers as the default gateway for local host. So for local host, you have to configure your own gateway on your router, so that the local host can communicate with host on remote networks. Now, when you want to communicate within the internet environment, then you have to consider this also, that is public and private IP addresses. So within all those ranges which is available to use, that is class A, B and C, we are having some public and private addresses. Now these devices and hosts that connects directly to the internet require a public IPv4 addresses. That means if you want to connect the internet, then you need a public addresses. So if you want to connect your device directly to the internet, then you need the public address. Without public address, you cannot connect. However, hosts and devices that do not connect directly to the internet do not require a public IPv4 address. So they can work on private addresses. So basically, AENA has arranged the private addresses so that if you are not connecting to the internet or WAN connection, and you just want to use the networking within your local network, you don't want to go anywhere, then you can use the private addresses in your local network. Now if you want to go outside, you want to go to internet, then you need the public addresses, and public addresses you have to get it from AENA, and that you have to take on lease. Remember, you have to pay for that. You have to take on lease. You will not get it for every time or for the lifetime. You will get it on lease, and when the lease period expires, then you have to reconsider the IP address. You have to reconsider it. So public addresses are not free. They are comes with the lease, comes on lease, and basically when you get the internet, you will get one public address, or when you take the lease line, you will get the public address. Private addresses, you don't have to get it from anywhere. You can use that addresses in your local environment. So public addresses required by devices and hosts that connects directly to the internet must be unique, routable on the internet, must be assigned by INA. Remember, must be assigned by INA, and must be routable. So public IPs are actually routable. It is called routable because it can be routed to internet. Private addresses non-routable on the internet. It is not routable on internet and can be assigned locally by organization, must be translated to access the internet. And if you want to access the internet with the private address, then you have to translate the address to public, and that thing is called NAT. So by using the NATing, that is network address translation, you can translate the private address into public, but with the private address you cannot access internet. So INA defines the following addresses ranges as private. Internet-based routers do not forward packets originate from or destinate for to these ranges. Remember, on internet WAN connections, any router does not forward the packets if sees these these private IP addresses as a source or destination. They will not forward this packet, they will drop these packets. So it is not routable on internet. Now within those class A, B and C, INA has leaved these private IP addresses ranges. So for class A, the range of 10.0.0.0 is actually the private range. Now this /8 means what? It is defining the subnet mask. Subnet mask, that means how many bits are enabled. Now because it is class A and /8 means 8 bits are on, that means first 8 bit is on, that is the network part. So basically in class A, the IP from 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255 is the private range, and it is a very big range. You remember how many IPs you will get within that range. You will get these number of IPs. So in class A, INA have leave one network for private, and that is having this number of hosts, and that is network 10. So in anywhere you see network 10, that means it is private IP. From class B, they have leave from 172.16.0.0/12. That means they have leave from 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.255.255. Now in class B, we have not much IPs than class A. It is less IPs than class A. So they have leave some networks also. You remember in class B you have two networks, two parts as a network. So 172 and 16s are network. These two part is network, and it is also changing. So from network 16 to 31 is also private. So this is the range of class B as a private IP addresses. So any machine, if you see this IP address, that means it is a private range. Then in class C, it has 192.168.0.0/16. That means 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. Now in class C, we have only 256 IPs in one network. So they have leave network from 0 to 255 here, because this third part is also network in class C. So you have 0 from 0 to 255 as a network, and these are all private networks and all IPs are private. So you can use this without any concern and without any asking for INA. You can use these ranges, but this will not work on internet environment. These are not routable on internet. Now implementing IPv4 addressing. So it is important that you know how to assign the static IPv4 addresses manually and support devices that use DHCP to assign IPv4 addresses dynamically. So we have actually two ways to assign the IP address to our Windows 10 machine. First, static. Static, that means we will assign manual IP. That means whatever the IP information you want, you will assign it manually. And it can be difficult when you are having large number of machines. Suppose you are having 200, 300 machines, then manually assigning IP address can be difficult. That means you can reuse the same IP, you can forget what you have done, you can misconfigure, so you can do lots of errors. So we have another option, which is dynamically. We can use dynamically, we can assign IPs to our devices dynamically also by using the DHCP. Now DHCP is the dynamic host configuration protocol. It is a protocol, and when we configure a server on this protocol, so it calls DHCP server. And this DHCP server's job is to just assign the IP information to the clients. So whoever wants to have an IP, they will ask for the DHCP server that they want the IP address, and DHCP server will assign the unique IP address to those machines, and that will be automatically. So it will do that automatically. So static configuration, that means you can configure static IPv4 configuration manually for each of your network's computer. When you perform IPv4 configuration, you must configure what? IPv4 address, then the subnet mask you have to must configure, then the gateway, so that machines can go to other networks also. And also one more important thing is that is DNS server. DNS server is for resolving the names. This is also another protocol, DNS, which is used to resolve the names, because suppose you are having 200 or 500 machines in your network and you want to remember all those machines to connect, then if you remember them with IP addresses, then it is difficult, because you can't remember more than 10 numbers. Now there is 300, 400 machines, and each machine has unique IP address and it's a number. So we can't remember all those numbers. So we have this DNS protocol, and we configure the DNS server so that we can call them by name. We don't have to remember their IP addresses, we can remember by their name. So whenever we want to connect them, we can connect them with the number, with the name, and that will be resolved by the DNS server. That means when I give a name to any machine to connect, so my request will go to the DNS server, and DNS server will resolve, and it will give me the IP of that machine, and then my machine can connect to that machine directly. Now this also is a server, and if you have the DNS server, then you can give the IP address of that DNS server in your machine, and you have to give it. So in a large organization or large environment, you have gateways and DNS also. Then if you use DHCP, so DHCP is for version 4 IPv4 IP addresses. Since this DHCP v4 enables you to assign IPv4 configuration automatically for a large number of computers without having to assign each one individually. And the DHCP service receives requests for IPv4 configuration from computers that you configure to obtain an IPv4 addresses automatically. And it also assigns IPv4 information from scopes that you define for each of your network subnet. So DHCP, we have to configure the DHCP server, and we configure the scope of that DHCP server. Scope means the network which we want to configure, we want to assign. So whatever we want to assign, we have to configure there. So whenever any client we configure to assign IP address dynamically, it will send the request to DHCP server, and DHCP server will assign the IP address from the scope we have configured on DHCP, and it will assign it dynamically. Now there is one more thing, it is called IPv4 alternate configuration. Now this you will see only on Windows devices. You will not see this in any other other operating system. When you configure Windows 10 devices to obtain IPv4 address from DHCP, use the alternate configuration tab to control the behavior of if a DHCP server is not available. That means when the DHCP server is not available and you are configuring it to get the IP from DHCP server, then what your machine will do? So by default what it will do, Windows 10 uses APIPA to assign itself an IPv4 address automatically from the range of 169.254.0.0 to 169.254.255.255. This is the range. It is called APIPA range. APIPA means automatic private IP addresses. These addresses are also private. This is not defined by INA. It is not defined by INA. It is actually defined by Microsoft. You will see this range only in Microsoft machines. So Microsoft has taken this range and made it private for themselves. And when the machine is not connecting the DHCP server and it is not getting the IP from DHCP server, then it will itself assign this IP address from this range. And if you don't want to happen this, then you can use the alternate configuration tab to change the behavior. Like if you don't want this IP address, then you can change the behavior from this alternate configuration. Now what are the tools we have for configuring the networking? So you can configure the network setting by using the number of tools in Windows 10. The tools you decide to use depends on your situation and goals. So Windows 10 provides a number of tools, enable configuration and manage network connection and settings. That is network and internet. Then we have network and sharing center. Then we have network setup wizard. Then we have PowerShell also we can use. We can use the CMD command netsh also to configure the IP. First, suppose we want to configure it from network and internet, and this is available in setting app. So to access the network settings, open the setting and then click network and internet if you are using a wired connection, and tap Ethernet if you are using the wireless connection, tap Wi-Fi. So if you are using the wireless connection, then you will see the wireless. If your LAN card, if your machine is having the wireless interface, then you will see the wireless there. Or if you are using the wired network, then you will see Ethernet. Let me show you that. So this is our machine. I will go to setting. Now under the setting we have network and internet option here. So when you go here, now you will see here these options. This first option will show you the status, the current status. It is saying that no internet access, you are connected to private network. You are connected to private network and there is no internet connection available. This is the Ethernet network of your, from last 30 days it has used this data 1.2 GB, 1.02 GB. It is only showing you the status. You can check the property, you can check the data use of your Ethernet. Because I have connected the wired network, I have not have the wireless network. And because I am not having a wireless network, you can see there is no wireless showing here, Wi-Fi. If you have any problem like you are not able to connect the internet, then you can use the troubleshoot to check what is the problem. Now there is a problem because I am not having the IP address properly configured. Now you can check the property. This is the property of your Ethernet. Like this is the speed, this is the link IPv6 address, this is the DNS of IPv6. Now this is IPv6. So after IPv4 we have IPv6 also. Now we will discuss this IPv6 later. Now this is what IPv4 address which is already there. It is 10.0.0.1 is the address of this machine. Now this means what? This is the private IP address configured on this machine. This is the manufacturer, description and driver and the physical address, and this is the MAC address of this machine. And it is using the IP address from DHCP. You can see IP assign automatic DHCP. This is for the data, like you want to download it on metered connection. If you are using it on your laptop, mobile device, and you are using the mobile data, then you can limit it. or you can enable it to download it from that meter connection also. And also you can check the data use. So this is what the status. Now this is the Ethernet. If you want to configure your Ethernet, then you will go to Ethernet. If you want to configure your wireless, if you are having wireless, then you can go to wireless. There is no wireless available here. Now you click on this and it will again take you to the property of that Ethernet. So if you want to edit your IP, then you will select this edit. Now it is saying edit IP setting. Do you want DHCP or you want manual? You have these two options. Either you want DHCP or manual. So let's say I want manual. Now it says which IP you want, IPv4 or you want IPv6. For example, I want IPv4, so I will enable this. Now it is asking me that what IP you want. You have to type this IP here. Now remember, you know the classes of the IP addresses and you know the network part and host part, so you can assign according to that whatever the network you want. Let's say for example I want 192.168.1.160. Then it is saying what will be the subnet mask. So subnet mask will be, because it is class C, so 255.255.255.0. First three parts are the network part. Then gateway. Gateway, that means if you are having a gateway, a router in your network, then you will mention the router address here. Like for example, I am saying 192.168.1.1 is the gateway. Then you are having the DNS server in your network. Now if you are having DNS server in your network, then you will mention the DNS server IP here. For example 8.8.8.8. Now if you have more than one DNS server, then you can configure one more DNS server IP here and you will save it. And now your IP addresses will change. Now another way of configuring IP address. Now next is network and sharing center. Now this is from control panel. Now this tool is largely the same as it is in Windows 8.1, and it provides a clear view of the status for any wired or wireless connection, and you can use it to create additional network connection by using the wizard driven interface. And network and sharing center also provides link for accessing other network related tools, including change advanced sharing setting, internet options, Windows firewalls, and network and sharing troubleshooting wizard. So this tool is still having lots of option available than the normal setting app. So setting app is still not having these options here, where you can change the advanced sharing setting, you can change the internet option, you can change the firewall setting, you can change the network and internet troubleshooting also you can do, and you can also create new connection with the wizard driven interface. And that network and sharing center you can get it from control panel, or you can get it by right clicking on this network option here in the notification, and you can see this network and sharing setting, internet and sharing setting. This is from the setting app. So you will go to control panel. Now in the control panel you have this network and sharing center. So when you click this, so you will see all these things here. Right now it is saying unidentified network, and which is under the private network we are, and internet is not connected, no internet access, and connection is this interface. This is the interface which is connecting to the internet, the network. This is Ethernet 0, the name of the interface. Now we have in this side option to change the adapter setting, the physical adapter we have. If you click, it will show you this is the physical adapter, that is Ethernet 0, and you can change and you can see the setting of this adapter. Then you can see here the option for change the advanced sharing setting. Advanced sharing setting, that means when you share the computer data like folder and all, then these are the advanced sharing options for different network profiles like private profile, public profile, or all profiles. It is like network discovery, that is it is on the turn on the network discovery. If you turn on the turn off the network discovery, that means your machine will not be discoverable from the other machine. That other machine wants to discover your machine for getting the share folder, they will not able to get it, they will not able to see your machine, because when you turned off it. If you turned off in private, then it will not appear in private, but in other it will appear. Or if you want, then you can disable it on other machines also, other profiles also. This is network profile, this is private profile, and this is public, or we can say guest profile. Same options. One is for the share folder, one is for the printer. This is for share device share folders, and this is for printer. And for all network also you can do this by using the encryption also to secure sharing. For securing it, you can use the encryption option, but it must be supported on all the devices. Then you can use the password protection sharing also, and this is also on. So when password protected sharing is on, only people who have a user account and password on this computer can access the share files and printer. If you disable it, it will not ask the password for username. Remember, when you access the share folder, it asks the password. So these are some advanced options you can change from here. You can also create new setting, new connection by using this setup wizard. You click on it, it will ask for you to what you want. You want to connect to internet, you want to create broadband or dial-up connection, or you want to set up the new connection with using the router or access point, or you want to create the VPN connection or dial-up connection. These are the different type of connections you can create from this setup wizard. And if you want to configure your local network IP with the network adapter, then you can click here to see the adapter setting, or also here. So when you go here, you will see all the adapters connected to your machine, and you right click on it and check the status to see the current status. It shows here there is no internet connection, it is enabled, duration and speed. You can see the detail. So what are the IP addresses it has? IPv4, IPv6. There is no gateway and all, it is configured here. If you want to configure it, then you can go to properties. Under the property, you have two options, IPv4 and IPv6. So you want to configure IPv4, then you select IPv4 and go for the properties of IPv4. And here you will see this IP addresses. You have two options, use manually or obtain automatically. So if you want to use manually, then you will click here, and then you will assign what you want to assign. Remember, we can use only class A, B and C. If suppose I want to use class B address like 226, that this is not a valid entry, please specify a value between 1 to 223. That is class A to C. So we can use only those, we cannot use any other, class B or class D or E. So for example, I want to use this IP. Now you see the subnet mask. When I click here, it automatically get the subnet mask here. If suppose this is class C, if I give class B address 172.16.0.1, it will automatically get the class B subnet mask. If I give a IP address of class A 10.0.0.1, it will automatically get the class A subnet mask. Then you can assign the gateway here, whatever gateway you have. Then you can assign the DNS server IP, whatever IP you have, or you can consider more IPs here. More DNS servers if you have. Then you can go to advanced also, where you can configure other IPs also. You can configure multiple IP addresses on the same interface, and you can configure gateway also here. So this is what you configured. You press OK and you close it. Now when you see the details, it shows what you configured. There is no DHCP. These are the addresses which we configured to our interface. Now you can also do one more thing. You can disable your interface from here. You can disable your interface. So if you don't want to do the connection here, then you can disable it and your network is disabled, and you want, then you can enable it also. And if you are having any problem, then you can go for diagnosing also, and you can rename your interface. By default it is Ethernet 0, and you can go to properties to configure the IP address again. So this is also one option, and which is the main option you use to configure the IP addresses in our Windows 10 machine. Then we can go for network setup wizard also to configure the IP address. In Windows 10 it is provides the network setup wizard, a user friendly interface that you can use to configure network settings. Windows 10 recognizes any unconfigured network devices on the computer, and then automates the process of adding and configuring them. The network setup wizard also recognizes any wireless network in the computer range, and then guides you through the process of configuring them. So when it detects the interface, it will automatically configure it for you, and it will give you interface wizard also. That is, here you can open this wizard, you can set up network, you can go for setting up the network. Now it will detect and configure any, but right now we have already configured the one which is already there. So it is not showing any other unconfigured interface. So the one which is there, it is already configured. So if it is any unconfigured, then it will detect and it will give you the option to configure. It is easy to set up wizard. And also you can configure firewall from here also, from this network and sharing center. Then we have PowerShell. We have Windows PowerShell. Although you can use the graphical tools previously described to perform all network configuration and management tasks, sometimes it can be quicker to use command line tools and scripts. So Windows has always provided the command prompt for certain network management tools. So however, Windows PowerShell provides a number of network specific commandlet that you can use to configure, manage and troubleshoot Windows network connections. So first, you can use PowerShell also to do the configuration of network. Now for retrieving the information about the IP address configuration, we can use getNet IP address command. This command will show you the interface information, current information about your network. Then retrieve information about the IPv4 protocol configuration. So the commandlet get IPv6 protocol returns this same information for the IPv6 protocol. So if you have configured IPv6, then you can get it by using getNet IPv6 command, and IPv4 will give you the information about IPv4. Then you can use obtain of list of interface and their configuration. This does not include IPv4 configuration of the interface. You can get command getNet IP interface. It will show you the interface information. Now if you want to configure the IPv4 in PowerShell, then you will use new net IP address with the interface alias. What is the interface name? This will be the interface name. In our case it is Ethernet 0. Then IPv4 address, the address which we want to configure. Then the prefix length, that is the subnet mask. Now 24 means the 24 bit is on. This is what /24. It is like in subnet mask 24 bits are on. Then you can mention the gateway like this, gateway. And if you want to configure the DNS server, then again you will configure set DNS client server address, interface alias, you will mention the interface name, and then the server address option with the addresses of that server, whatever the server address we have, DNS server address. So we can use this PowerShell also to configure our IP informations. So for configuring it, we have to open the PowerShell as admin. So I will right click on start. I will say Windows PowerShell admin. Yes. Then I will say like this. Get net IP addresses. It shows all the interface addresses configured on the interface, on the machine, and this is our physical interface, and others are the logical interface. These are logical IPv4 loopback. This is IPv6 and this is IPv4 loopback logical addresses. We can get net IP V protocol. It also show you the information about your IPv information, like what are the default hop limit, neighbor cache limit, root cache limit, resemble. So it is showing all the detailed information about without the IP address. Get net IPv4 protocol command. Now we want to configure the IP address. So what you will do, we will configure, first we will get net IP interface. Now with this command it will show you the interface name. So these are the interface name and this is our IPv4 interface name. You can see this is the IPv4 interface and this is Ethernet 0. For IPv6 also the same name we can use, and these are the loopback virtual interfaces for IPv6 and IPv4. So I want to configure this interface, so we have to remember the name of the interface. This is the alias, interface alias. So this is our interface alias which I want to configure. So configuring that, I will use the command new net IPv4 address, interface alias, and the alias is this. Ethernet 0. Ethernet 0. Then I will say whatever the address I want to configure. Now this time I will configure 172.16.0.1.1. Then you will configure prefix length and whatever the length you want. So now because it is class B I am using, so it will be 16. Then if you are having a default gateway, then you will configure the default gateway. And it is configured. So this is what I have already. Now this is what I have configured from PowerShell command. If we want to configure the DNS server address, so we can also configure set client server address interface alias, that is Ethernet 0, then server addresses. Now you can configure one address or multiple addresses. I am configuring one and it is done. So this is what we can configure the IP addresses by using the PowerShell also. Now we can also use netsh command from the command line, CMD command. So you can also use netsh command line tool to configure the network setting. For example, to configure IPv4 by using the netsh, you can use this following command: netsh interface IPv4 set, then you will say address, then you will mention the name of that interface, then source, static or dynamic, we are using static, then ADDR is equal to this, mask is equal to this, gateway is equal to this, and it will configure the interface. Now again, to run netsh, it is command line tool, so you will open CMD and you will open it by using the administrator, run as administrator. To check the interface detail, you will see this, you will run this command. It says netsh interface, then show interface. So it will show you the current interface, that is enable or disable, status is connected or not, and it is a dedicated type, and this is the name of your interface. So when you want to configure it, you should know the name of your interface. Now when you know the interface name, then you can configure the IP address on that interface using the netsh command. So this time you will use interface IPv4 set address and name is equal to Ethernet 0. Source is equal to static, then ADDR is equal to whatever the address you want to configure, 10.10.10.1. Then you will configure the mask is equal to 255.0.0.0 because it is class A. Then you will configure gateway, whatever gateway you have. Or simply we can use this command, netsh interface IPv4 set address, then name of the interface, whether you want dynamic, DHCP or static, then your IP address, subnet mask and gateway, and you will press enter and it will configure that. So this is we configure IPv4 addresses networking in our Windows 10 to do the connectivity, network connectivity. So this is IPv4 and this is how we can configure it in our Windows 10 machine.